2 points before running off to bed tonight. The first one is a response to a comment here. I suggested that we should be looking at teachers and nurses and doctors and legal support from other countries, because we don't have the sources, we don't have the resources, we don't have the people to do these train jobs ourselves. And Tony Dick says, why do foreign countries keep supplies of good teachers they're not using? Do they secretly have the UK's best interests at heart? Why does the UK deserve to employ them more than the country they're currently in? Well, it's a good question, except that the government has in fact got a list of subjects that they are recruiting foreign teachers to teach. My own instinct is that there's plenty of things that can be done by perhaps less trained individuals, simply to get rid of a lot of the bureaucracy that teachers are bogged down with. And that is certainly a case. So it's not me, it's the government to start with that is putting forward this idea that foreign teachers are being recruited and should be recruited in core subjects. And of course, the government, as indeed the opposition, have got this idea that there's a sort of league table of which subjects are important. Maths, sciences are at the top of that league table, and then there are the Mickey Mouse subjects, the subjects which don't matter. But in fact, every subject is an entry into the world of education, and every subject is of value and is an opportunity for students to learn the skills that they can use later on at university or indeed in real life. Those skills of analysis, those skills of presentation and so on. That's the first point I'd like to make. Second point, user OJ6EV8YI4Z says, the backlog is deliberate. I'm sure I've seen Robert Jenrick and a few others say they don't want to process the applications as some sort of deterrent to keep people in limbo. This is about the backlog of migrants who are waiting for their cases for asylum to be heard. And there seems to be no chance of those cases being heard. They are instead being kept in hotels and vilified for taking up to £8 million a day for the pleasure of being kept in a hotel. They might as well be kept at His Majesty's pleasure. And they aren't allowed to earn a living. They're surviving on a ridiculous amount of money, and some of them are being further persecuted by being sent to places like Bibi Stockholm. And they're also being told, they walk out of these hotels when they can, and they're being told that they're being kept in 5-star accommodation, which of course is complete rot. They're being kept 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 a room in hotels which, frankly, are beneath contempt anyway. I've stayed in some of them. No, that's the first point. And the second point is, I've just been watching Bates versus the Post Office, and it is so distressing to see that story writ large, and so beautifully acted by everybody involved, so beautifully presented, so clearly presented. And I think to myself, there isn't just one instance of this bullying going on by a huge organization or by people who feel they have control and will not be questioned. It's happening again and again and again in our country at the moment. Whether this is the government refusing or playing hard to get in paying compensation that it has promised to Andrew Malkinson, whether it's the Horizon issue itself, whether it's the issue of people who arrived here from Jamaica and other countries, whether it's it's about compensation It's about what is right and about the failure of the authorities to do what is right. And where the people are suffering because they were on the Windrush or they were part of the Windrush generation and they've been overlooked, or whether it's because they were caught up in the Horizon software scandal, or whether it's because they were given contaminated blood, it doesn't seem to matter. The people in charge don't want to take responsibility for their own error, for their own stupidity. And we come back down to something like Partygate, where politicians give the impression that they are going through the issues and that they are solid, upstanding people. They're shits. They know they've done wrong, and they're trying to avoid responsibility. And we can list them. We can list these people. Why should we? Because we just don't want that litany of names to be bogging down our social media, because it goes on and on and on. Anybody who seems to have power seems to feel entitled to abuse it, because they look up at the people in charge, the prime ministers, the people in parliament, and they see so clearly that these people can bark louder than anybody else and can get away with it. And they think that gives them a right to treat other people who work hard, who don't have their resources, to treat them so appallingly. And they do it with brazen confidence because they can. And we all know it's happening. I think this drama should be watched by everybody. Absolutely everybody. And one of the most extraordinary things is the way the Horizon scandal started, with the post office organisation people going around the place saying, "You're the only one," when they knew full well that the numbers of people caught up by the Horizon computer failure was increasing by the day. They knew. And the attempt to hide the details of their stupidity and their arrogance, and they knew. I'm appalled. I've been appalled for a while by the abuse of power in so many areas of our life, and I've trodden in the gutter of corruption in Moscow and in other countries. I've seen what corruption looks like, and I have to say with great regret, there is corruption here, and the fat cats are getting fatter, and I'm so appalled.